Uh-oh.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home and podcast time.
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present the Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam, and you all know my co-host, Jordan.
What's up, guys? What's up, Adam?
We talking home improvement today.
We sure are. I said guys like there's a special guest.
What's up, guys?
And there isn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
We a special guest today, Tim Allen, on the show, and he wants to talk
really
about.
underselling
He wants to
that.
talk about when he met Buzz Lightyear and Woody at Disney.
Yeah, that was a really big popular story on the Daily Mail, that UK site.
Yeah,
so.
my computer is running much slower than it was before.
The problem is you go to that site and it just breaks everything.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Jordan, good afternoon. Well, nearly good afternoon. No, good morning still for me, for both of us.
How dare you?
Yeah,
How
I've been
dare
up a
you
while.
Make
so,
time fly.
Time to me and Matthew McConaughey, it's a flat circle. So we're talking home improvement today. This is Home Podcast. My name is Adam, and you do know my co-host Jordan. Hopefully, if it's your first episode, good time to jump in because we're talking about the fourth season of the show. If it's your last episode, sorry to see you go. Maybe you'll come back later on. But
You're just assuming people are going to listen to this episode and bounce.
yeah, you got first, last. If it's your 10th, we're just happy to have you. Regardless of how many episodes you've listened to, whether it be all or none, we found a little bit of merch we want to talk about to start the show. Isn't that right, Jordan?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we like to share any sort of hot merch, hot things that are on the web. This one was kind of trending, I think, on Google, so we had to talk about
Jordan,
it.
we know that our fans have deep pockets from the amount that they give to the show, so we like to showcase some kind of hot, maybe a little bit more expensive products.
Ooh, and boy, is this pricey.
This is pricey, but prestigious, I would say.
Yeah, so if you're interested in something like this, it's on Fantasy Floor Plan trademark.
Oh, we'll be
because,
posting a link.
Yeah, Fantasy Floor Plan. I'm glad they trademarked
Yeah, I
that
noticed
because that was
that
probably a
too.
big problem.
I noticed that. Yeah, before they trademarked it, everybody was trying to rip it off. Jordan, what is this product?
So this website in general just makes 100% hand-drawn, made in the USA, fictional hand-drawn floor plans of over 150 famous TV homes and offices by artist Brandy Roberts. So shout out to Brandy Roberts. This is the Brandy Roberts that was seen on NBC's Today Show and featured in the Real Simple Best Gifts of 2017.
I remember that. Yeah, it was good. She's good.
So I mean, and why we're talking about this in particular is a fancy floor plan that I found based on the address that pops up in this episode we'll be talking about, 510 Glenview Road. And when I put that into Google, it pulled up this website and it had a blueprint of the home improvement residence of Jill and Tim Taylor. Only the first floor, though.
Only the first floor. So you're not getting that sweet basement room he eventually builds or anything that's going on upstairs. But yeah, it's framed. It's classy, I would say. The photo they have it is next. It shows it kind of between a fake plant and an empty bottle. So it's
And there's a little bike there.
There is
Do you see
a
that little
small bike as
knick-knack?
well. Yeah, a little knick-knack. It's a classy thing. Yeah, I mean, I myself wouldn't really want to own this because it doesn't. It's kind of indiscriminate. You'd have to tell people what this is because it's not.
It doesn't say like home improvement blueprint or anything like that.
I'd probably want to take a Sharpie to it and add that on so people wouldn't ask me. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting bit of merch. So 8x10 print's going to cost you $36, but you can go all the way to a 13x19 print signed by the artist for $85. So kind of a wide window there.
Yeah, I mean, if it's signed by Brandy, I want it.
Yeah, I mean, she was on the Today Show, so
You can also change the color of the lines from blueprint to black line print. So if you want more of that like authentic blueprint type of thing,
which most do, yeah.
Yeah, you can get that done.
Did you add this to your wish list? I see that's an option on there.
I pinned it. So
Oh, okay. Did you? If we scroll down, there's the description. So I'm going to read the description. So
please.
This is my home improvement floor plan. Good start. Floor plan for Jill and Tim Taylor's house. This is the first bedroom. It features a foyer, living room, office for Tim,
This is where it's suspect.
Okay. Large kitchen, breakfast area, formal dining area, den, and guest bedroom. Seems like she took some liberties. Okay.
Yeah, there's some things on there that I've never seen
keep
before.
Talking and then we'll discuss. There's also a large double-car garage that features Tim's power tools.
You know, his garage seems like a single-car garage, if you ask me.
It doesn't look very big. In Tim's office, you'll find Detroit Magazine on the credenza. A patio area can be accessed via the office or dining area.
True.
A grill is available for family cookouts.
True.
Beautiful landscaping completes this fictional abode. I'll finish before I ask all the questions I have. Jill and Tim Taylor's floor plan is sure to be a conversation starter for anyone who loves the show. This print is reproduced from my original and expertly hand-drafted drawing, printed on archival matte paper with fade-resistant links. For more information about my prints and their packaging, please visit the site or scroll through the images
I'm glad
above.
you read that last part for more information about the packaging.
So, I guess obviously, like, I think she did include some things that I don't like. Does Tim have an office? Is that real? Where is this?
I think the office that she's talking about, I think, is the office that we see Jill at the computer at so often. So
do you call that an office? That's not enclosed, right?
No, it is more like a nook almost.
Yeah. Okay. Here's where my questions come in. Near the end, it kind of switches tones where it's almost like it's like a reading or a piece of writing for an actual house. Like she's actually trying to sell the house. A grill is available for family cookouts. Beautiful landscaping completes this fictional abode. Like you're not seeing any of that.
Like
so
you're gonna find this on Realtor.com.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't. Yeah, those seem like odd kind of.
You know,
things
there are. If you look closely at the blueprint,
the topography I see.
Yeah, there's some landscaping, little circles with dots in the middle.
Odd that she didn't include the fence. It feels like a missed opportunity.
It's absolutely a missed opportunity. So kind of a bummer. No side yard of any sort, really, and we don't see the gazebo. So a few things we'd like to add.
Yeah, maybe, you know what Brandy would say? Do your own.
Yeah, she'd say, this is Fancy Floor Plans trademark, so back off.
So pick a different name if you're going to do it, but you're welcome to your own. It's an interesting piece of memorabilia, I guess you'd say.
I don't know what else you'd say.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
I'm surprised there's no, maybe there is and I didn't do enough research, which seems likely, but is there a second floor? I don't know. I also clicked...
Does she do a second floor? Yeah, that's interesting.
I clicked on the related projects because I'm interested to see, what products are related to this. And we've got the Bewitched residence and the Leave It to Beaver residence.
Ooh, I'm going to get the Leave It to Beaver for my dad. It's funny because, like, these are not famous houses. Like, I've seen both of these shows, and the houses are, like, they're pretty customary, I would say. Like, the Home Improvement house, at least, is, like, you spend a lot of time there, kind of... I'm not going to say iconic, but
it's certainly not the Friends apartment or anything like that, or the coffee.
Seinfeld, Jerry's apartment, I would say, is a little more renowned than that. But I don't know. This is. I'm wondering who wants the Leave It to Beaver residence necessarily.
I kind of wish there was a section for reviews or a rating. 5 stars, 4 stars, but there's not. So we're just gonna have to do without. But
the Leave It to Beaver link says, in the backyard, you'll find a patio and well-manicured lawn. Its style is all American.
Oh, I'm wondering about Bewitched, because I never watched Leave It to Beaver, but my mom did watch Bewitched, so I saw some of that. I didn't take much note of the rooms in the house, I guess. But there is a nursery, Tabitha's nursery.
Darren and Samantha enjoy a large master suite with a fireplace and large windows. They also have a large master bath and a walk-in closet. Man, this is detailed.
Twitch your nose together and you'll have a match set.
Where does it say that?
It's like the third paragraph.
Okay. Yeah, wow. That's cool. Wow, it's a really interesting thing. I wonder if she's doing well with this. Is this something that's making her money?
It's a nice looking website.
It does have an air of legitimacy. Frequently asked questions.
Now we're diving into the website as a whole, huh?
Newsletter, sign up, press.
The one of the things that I like is that it is an HTTPS website, so it is more secure. You might not know what that means,
I wouldn't have known.
It's a real thing. So, it does have another air of legitimacy there.
Press page, she's been on Real Simple, NBC Today Show, The Marilyn Dennis Show, Canadian Living Magazine, National Post, EW, Yahoo News, Inhabit, The Kansas City Star, TV Insider, Home and Podcast, ?
That would be interesting. I'm looking, and she kind of has a shot by decade tab. So
clicking.
you can get on air now all the way from the 50s.
Oh, wow.
There's only two movie floor plans on there, Psycho and Rocky Balboa, which I have no idea
Rocky
what the
Balboa
Rocky House looks like.
Where is the... I gotta... Like, the sixth Rocky?
It seems like she also needs to update this tab, this on air now, because it still has Mad Men. It has a lot of... She looks like a very big Mad Men fan.
Must be those we're selling. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool idea. I wouldn't necessarily want it, but it's very interesting. Must be... She's a lot. Dunder Mifflin.
I like that.
Does she have the Michael Scott Paper Company? Floor plan, the one room. A lot of Gilmore Girls, Desperate Housewives. Here's Friends. Seinfeld. Oh, I gotta click on Jerry's.
My Name is Earl.
I mean, that's a must-have for any...
A lot of Friends.
I would think that would be... What do you think is who's the target for this? Is it like...
Fans, super fans.
I mean, yeah, okay. I think her big mistake, and I don't know, maybe I'll tweet at her, but I think you really need the label on these. Like,
I would agree.
It's a cool idea, but it needs to say at the bottom, like, friend's apartment.
Yeah,
or something.
that would draw people in initially, because when you see it, you're like, oh, is this just a floor plan for this house? Maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Do a lot of people hang floor plans of their own house within their house on the walls?
Actually, that's kind of a thing.
It is? Where?
Yeah, everywhere.
Oh,
I'm surprised you don't see that. It seems like something that shows up on HGTV every once in a while.
Kirsten's dad is he's an architect, so I'll ask him.
He's an architect, huh?
Yeah, Art Vandelay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, that was fun. I think probably people really enjoyed that. So let's quit while we're ahead here. But yeah, again, the website is fantasyfloorplans.com. We'll post a link, and hey, I don't know, maybe I'll even reach out to Brandy Roberts. So best gifts 20. Yeah, interesting. Okay, Jordan, what are we covering today?
Yeah, we're going to be moving from floor plans of the Taylor house into Wilson's house. So we're going to be covering episode 83, My Dinner with Wilson. This episode was written by Marley Sims and Elliot Schuenman. They last did your favorite, He Ain't Heavy, He's Just Irresponsible. So
my favorite title.
Your favorite title, and then
He Ain't Heavy, He's Just Irresponsible.
You also really liked Marty in that episode, so...
I'm going to like Marty in most of the episodes, I think.
That is for sure. This aired November 8th, 1994. Title reference is My Dinner with Andre, a 1981 movie.
Have you seen that?
I have not seen it.
I haven't either, so we're level playing field. I think it has...
It has the guy from
it's the
Princess
guy that does the dinosaur voice in Toy Story. What's that guy's name? Oh, no.
I like another Toy Story connection. That's great.
Wow, that's fun. You keep talking. I'll find out his name. Yeah. Just out of respect.
Respect, yeah. So 1981 film based on a dinner where two people don't see eye to eye, I believe. Alternative titles. This is definitely not going to be one of my stronger suits this week, but I'm sure that means you have an amazing bunch of titles. How many do you have?
Jordan, I have 4. I just want to return to...
Yeah, before we get into them, let's tie
the man's name is Wallace Shawn,
yes.
And he also seems to have written the film as well.
Interesting.
So stars and written. Hey, if you're going to write a film, you might as well star in it.
Yeah, that's what you're doing with the Home Improvement reboot
I wrote
plot.
myself in as a central character. Yeah, I'm Tim's son.
You move in next door, I thought.
Tim and Jill had a kid much later. Me.
An accident, no. Adam.
Yeah. Whoops. So yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 alternative titles. The original title is My Dinner with Wilson. Jordan, how many did you say you had?
3, so you can go first.
Okay. Right. I'll just start with this one. The Last Supper.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
I got the moves like Wilson. I got the moves like Wilson.
I feel like you've done that before.
I have not.
I feel like you've done another Maroon 5 parody then. I don't know why you love Maroon 5.
Well, you know, Adam and Levine and I, we have the same voice register. So.
Do you guys both use Proactive? Or?
Yes, definitely.
All right, next one. I'll do my song rendition. Make sure I can read it. Okay. Mama, if that's moving up, then I'm moving out.
Love that song. It's a good song.
Yeah.
This one has to do more with what's in Wilson's house, but Wilson's Believe It or Not.
Good. Left Behind. Off the famous series of books. You know about those?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Have you ever read one?
I have not, but father-in-law has read them. Almost all. I think he got through it's like a 13 or 14 series thing, and then I think he did the first 10, and he's like, I just can't do anymore. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you get through 10, you might as well just finish them all. But
yeah, well, you've never gotten through 10 of them, so you don't know.
no, I've never gotten through 10 of anything.
That's true. My last one is moving memories.
I don't know about that one. All right, my last one is...
Hey, you can't attack my titles.
You'll just see what my last one is, all right? U for eel moving? Y'all got any eel?
Sure. All right, wow. Plot synopsis is a short one this week by Skagary66. Tim and Jill are upset to find out that Wilson is planning on moving to the forests of Ecuador.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. Apt. Thanks, Skagary.
Yep, and we're going to open on Tool Time.
We're going to open in the forest of Ecuador. That would be shocking.
That would be. Is this Jungle to Jungle or Home Improvement?
The budgets of Home Improvement have
skyrocketed in Season 4. Instead, we are in the oft-visited Tool Time set. They are displaying some left-handed tools. Apparently, both Tim and Al are left-handed, which I had never noticed.
I wonder if that's true.
Yeah, it would be interesting to go back and see. So, some of maybe our more prolific fans, will you let us know? Is this true?
Yeah, let us know.
Because we don't want to do the research.
The odds of them both being left-handed
low,
pretty slim. Yeah, I just confirmed because they do say later on that 10% of the world is left-handed, which I would have thought it would have been higher. But yeah, that remains true to this day. So
how many? You're not left-handed. You're right-handed, correct?
Correct.
I've always made note of your handedness, and
clearly, yeah.
One of my brothers is left-handed. My wife is left-handed, so I've got quite a few left-handed people around me.
That's super interesting.
I know.
Let's carry on. What happens next, Jordan?
I don't know. I'm more worried about the left-handedness. No, Tim cuts out with his left-handed scissors a Tool Time sort of. What do they call those? Like a crochet.
Oh, I don't know. It ends up reading like a. It's like a long. He pulls it apart, and then it's kind of like a long, almost a sign.
Yeah,
sort of?
It's like an accordion that comes out. We're not doing a very good job describing it, but I'm sure everyone knows what we mean.
You get what we're doing.
They also pick up the left-handed pruning shears, and you know what that means.
Yeah, time to prune.
Prune off, baby.
Prune, bro.
This is the second time they've done pruning on Tool Time, which seems like one too many, at least.
It's odd that you'd go to that well more than once. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. I don't know that pruning is. You should repeat other things before you get back to pruning.
Yeah, that well's got to be super dry. But they go back to it, and they're going to do a prune off, as you said. I did like the first prune off better, but
see, I don't remember it at all.
I think there's a very expensive topiary that comes out. This master.
Oh yeah, yep.
And Tim ruins it. Instead, you've got Tim and Al. And they're going to do this. Tim cheats, and it's, I guess, a pirate that.
Are we supposed to think that he's really doing it or no? Are we supposed to? Is it? I mean, obviously it's fake, but is it supposed to be fake on the show, or are we supposed to?
I think it's supposed to be fake on the show because it's already done underneath.
Okay, yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, it's like pretty obviously there's like a leaf blower or some kind of a fan behind it blowing fake leaves and such.
Heidi's just gently. She's like the big bad wolf.
Fans love Heidi, per our poll.
We'll talk about that later, though. Don't spoil that.
Okay, sorry.
Super important. All right, so next scene.
It sucks. It's a bad opening scene. It's like I don't know if that's clear or not, but it's not very good.
We spent a lot more time on it than we should have, I feel like. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty, baby. Let's move on.
All right. At home, Jill is finishing the laundry. Mark is bringing down a, I guess, gnarly centerpiece for Thanksgiving.
Would you call this a cornucopia?
Yeah, but it's made only out of pine cones, it looks like.
So the joke here is that she's like, oh, I see you cleaned up your room or got rid of some of that junk from your room. Does he have like pine cones just like hanging out in his room? Like I wasn't able to bridge the gap.
I think
on that
it's so awful and unrecognizable that she just thinks it's crap.
Yeah, it's not though. It looks just like a bunch of pine cones.
It does.
It's pretty recognizable if you look at it.
You know, Mark spends a lot of time playing chess, video games by himself, and collecting pine cones.
Yeah, I wonder if this was maybe for him when Stardom first happened.
Is he gonna do that every single time he's mentioned?
Every time, at least once per episode. If we're getting rid of the Wilsometer, then I need to include kind of a new bit. So
you and your bits.
I love them.
Tim smells something awful. Jill smells something awful. What could it be? Well,
Mark crapped his pants.
No. At first, they don't think it's that. They think it's Wilson cooking some horrible fish that he cooks around this time of the year. They start to investigate, though, and they find the source inside their own house. And they sniff and they sniff, and they find a wall that smells bad, and they think it's a dead rat in the wall.
See, I hated this because
you love rats?
Rats are number one on my list of things that I'm afraid of.
Oh.
So, yeah, even like we see like a rat for like 2 seconds in this episode, but like even just like the insinuation and the conversation about rats made me kind of anxious and on edge. So it was not my favorite plot point.
They've had some weird things in their walls. They have.
That's disgusting.
It is really gross.
It's a big. If you have a rat in your house, like that's a bigger deal. Mice, one thing. Okay, fine. Don't like it, but like that can happen. But if you have a rat in your house, like maybe you call somebody.
Those things are big. But they also had, remember like the 5th episode, they had a snake in their wall. So they've just got lots of things coming out of the walls.
It's a faulty foundation. People think too many things are just getting in. Next thing you know, there's gonna be a deer just hanging out in Mark's room. Like, I don't know how that got in here.
Either that or a pine cone.
Yeah, either one. Basically the same thing.
Yeah, everyone says that. Tim says something good will come of this terrible situation, though. He gets to demo a little bit. He gets to cut out some stuff in the walls. So he's excited about that. Jill is not. If you recall, just a few episodes ago, I think he cut up some of the floor, and that did not work out well either.
Well, that was when Marty came to town. So these writers really like it when small parts of the house are kind of cut. It's not full demo; it's just usually small holes. But
and they turn into bigger ones. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that's what a hole does. Jordan. Later on, Tim and the boys are working.
They've made some holes.
They've made some small holes. They haven't had any luck. Tim thinks he has the rat, but. Big twist, it's actually just a glove.
Whew. And you I was
like, wow. I hope
were you
it's just
like watching
glove.
through like your hands basically? You were just terrified.
Bated breath, Jordan. Bated breath. I was hoping that it would just end up being a glove and there was never going to be a rat. I was wrong.
I like that the boys just abandoned ship here after they didn't find the rat initially.
That's what you would do. I mean, like, why are they even a part of this? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if they're already there, I feel like Tim would keep them there after finding an old glove, but he doesn't. And they get out of there.
You win some, you lose some. Tim's using some lemon disinfectant, which Jill thinks is worse than the smell of the rat. Hey, Jill.
Seems unlikely.
Jill, take it easy. Like one complaint at a time, if you don't mind.
Yeah, she's got a lot of complaints. I can't imagine that it smells worse than a rotting rat carcass. So
it'd have to be. I mean, it would have to be a really bad odor. But Jordan, there's a knock at the door, and it's a. I love that knock effect we have on the soundboard.
Yeah,
it's so realistic.
We don't get to use it very often, but when we do, satisfying.
It really, satisfying is the word. There's an appraiser at the door, and he asks if this is does he ask if it's 510 or 508?
He asks if it's 508. They're at 510.
So 510 Glenview, and I looked it up, and it's a real address in Royal Oak.
Well, and he says he's from the Royal Oak Bank, so
yeah. So it's they went for ultimate realism. I was surprised that it was an actual.
Did you get a Google Street View?
I did. Yeah, I did actually do that. It is. It's hard to tell. It kind of looked like it's all brick, kind of individual homes. I don't know. Beyond that, I couldn't tell. It kind of had the look of like homes that had been turned into smaller apartment complexes, sort of. But it could just be houses. But it's a series of brick homes, pretty residential looking. So. It's a real subdivision apparently, or something of that sort. So I was interested in that.
Good research by you, man.
Yeah, hey, I took the extra step. But so this is their address. They are surprised that he's here, and then they kind of, he ends up going over to Wilson's house, and they immediately kind of jump to the thought that Wilson needs money. Which I thought was kind of strange.
Either that or the first thing Jill says is he refinancing. Is he hard up for money, or is he moving?
Yeah, I don't know. They're very nosy.
They are nosy. Tim smells a rat, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more than one. It seems like.
Dun dun dun. Which that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. A rat usually is someone lying, right?
Or betraying, backstabbing, something. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it's a hell of a line.
Okay.
Yeah, just a hell of a line.
I'm glad you enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that they're going to be over hanging out at Wilson's soon.
Well, it's time for the titular dinner with Wilson.
Yep, and they're going to walk over. Let's not use the front door. Let's use the back door. So they go around in the side yard through the bushes in their nice suits and outfits and such.
That was strange. Yeah.
They walk around to his side of the fence. They knock on the door. I don't know if you noticed this, but Wilson opens the door and almost knocks Mark over because he's too close to the door.
I didn't notice that, but I wish I would have. Should have been standing there.
Yeah, he's carrying that cornucopia of sorts. And Jill says during this time, before they actually get to the door, Jill's like, just take it easy. I'll figure it out. You're not very subtle.
Or hey, here's an idea. Nobody needs to figure it out. Let him tell you. Freaks.
They just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, they're nosy. Well, they walk in, and it's what you would expect out of Wilson's house. It's like a museum almost.
It's like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, if you ask me.
It's a curio, you might say. Just curiosities abound, and there are
detailed masks, a cannon apparently, birds, waterfalls, suits of armor.
Yeah, it's crazy, but he also has a bird that says "Hidey ho, neighbor," and this is probably the worst joke of the episode. Tim reaches his hand in, and the bird kind of bites Tim, and then Wilson's like, Mozart.
Let go, Mozart.
It made me wish I wasn't doing this podcast anymore, is what it made me feel.
So maybe you do want to do a podcast that's on pop culture movies.
I want to do Ready Player One podcast.
There you go.
It was bad.
There's even a new mask on the wall from a recent Ugandan circumcision.
But it's Brad's joke here is almost painful to watch, where Brad's like, hey, Wilson, didn't know you were into hockey. It's so stupid.
Hey, he just loves sports. That's all.
The way he delivered it was just really, it was cringeworthy. But yeah, it's a circumcision mask.
I'm surprised.
It's a good bit.
I'm surprised you didn't say anything about the tight hall shots here. The camera was elevated a little bit. We had a little bit different angle.
I can't bring that up every episode, Jordan. It loses its appeal. Yeah. It's not as special if I just start saying it all the time. But
yeah, it's more important to bring up when stardom happens every episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You gotta pick your battles. They are working their way through. They ask if they can see the waterfall. What would that be? He hasn't actually.
Maybe it's one of those. Those little plug-in waterfalls. Yeah. Maybe it's that, but I doubt it with Wilson.
Why would you want to see that? Because why would you ask to see that?
Brad just wants to leave the room after making such a bad joke.
Oh yeah, he's embarrassed. I did like it when Mark was like, "There's a suit of armor," and Mark's like, "Can I try this on?" And Wilson's like, "No." No, not even really a joke or anything. He's just like, "No, I don't."
Why does he have a suit of armor in his pantry? That's what I'm wondering.
Did you think it was kind of strange how this is a little behind the scenes, but mostly I'm working on this reboot script.
I'm mostly reading what you're working on.
You're doing some editing, but how I had written a scene where they went into Wilson's house, not knowing that they'd been in there before, and I included that he had a suit of armor.
Yeah, and that is true. And then you also, it's a good thing I am editing it because there was going to be a very big plot hole.
I know. Yeah, it was an issue.
But the good thing is we filled it really succinctly.
I haven't done it yet, but there's really no good way to fix the. I kind of backed myself into a corner, but we're gonna. That script will be done within a month, I would say. So it's coming along.
It is coming along, and we'll definitely share little bits and pieces to our audience.
Yeah, first draft came pretty quickly, but second draft might take longer. Anyways,
suit of armor.
Suit of armor. They're eating eel. Basically, eventually Tim just kind of asks like, "Hey, what's the deal? What's happening?" And Wilson says that he's moving, and that's about all the time I want to spend on that.
What's the forest? Do you remember the name of the forest?
No.
Mindo Nambio.
There's a lot of things like that happening in this episode, and I just at a certain point,
too much for you.
I just
we should say what his reasoning is for moving. He says he wants to renew his spirit and discover his place in the universe. So that's kind of his vague way of saying I'm leaving. Then we go back to the Taylors a little bit later. Tim and Jill are downcast. They're confidant. They're just Tim's father figure. They're, just good old...
Yeah, it's a lot of description. Friend, father figure, brother.
Neighbor.
All here.
All that kind of stuff. He's leaving them. And they feel like, for whatever reason, they feel like it's their fault or something almost. That's at least the way I interpret it.
They feel like betrayed, too. Mm-hmm. Like he owed them some kind of a... I don't know. It's weird.
They're just they can't survive without Wilson.
No way, Jose.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they're sad. I don't know what else to say. Tim, it kind of randomly, Tim just gets the rat.
He goes fishing again while they're talking.
Yeah. He just and pulls it out, and I don't know if it's a real rat or not. It kind of looked real.
I'm sure it's not.
I think I saw it moving, but maybe it was animatronic. I don't know.
I think that was in your head.
In my mind, I made it move because I was just so afraid. But throw it in the bag, get rid of the rat. But the weird thing is, Tim is supposed to put it in the trash, but he very visibly just puts the rat bag by the trash, on the table. It's kind of gross. Just throw it away. You're that close.
Yeah, you don't want that thing in your house for any longer, really.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But Tim again then circles around to the fact that he's going to lose his best friend. They reminisce.
This is almost as sad as when John Binford died.
It's the same. They reminisce.
My brother.
They reminisce about the first time they met, and apparently Wilson was imitating a mating possum. It brought in some horny possum, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that was.
It was very strange.
Yeah, it's just.
But don't worry, that'll come up at least one more time in this episode. The mating.
Tonally, you think Ready Player One has weird tonality? This episode's even stranger.
Nah.
All right, next scene, fence. This is an interesting scene because we get kind of a big time actor here.
We do.
Yeah. So basically, Wilson's giving a tour to a couple. The names on the show are
Francine.
Francine
Not
and
so
Fred.
fast, Francine.
We'll talk about Fred in a second, but Wilson got people in there very quickly.
Hey, his house is in a desirable neighborhood.
Evidently. Based on the Google image that I saw, I don't know how desirable.
Well, if you recall, they can basically walk to anything, including the mall.
That's true, yeah. Everything's close. Francine is played by Julie Cobb. 88 credits to her name. Jordan, you might know her for her work on Star Trek, where she played Yeoman Leslie Thompson. The film Defending Your Life. Some episodes of Charles in Charge and Magnum P.I. Recently, she's been in the TV series What a Lark, as well as some episodes of Judging Amy, but that was about 15 years ago. So
been a while.
ER.
Were you saying that I might know her from Star Trek because I watched Star Trek or something?
I was just joking.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if you do or don't.
No, I've never really watched that show, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, there's still time. It's out there.
Yeah.
The truth is out there.
That's right.
In the words of Scully and Mulder. So, yeah, I mean, she did some growing pains, just making sure I didn't miss anything. 80s TV, yeah, 22 episodes of Charles in Charge. She kind of had her way in the 80s, and, things have maybe since slowed down, but she's back at it with a new television series. So, yeah, we have Julie Cobb, but the crown jewel here, and again, I feel like I've said this before, but this is definitely true. One of the more accomplished actors we've had on Home Improvement is James Cromwell. Known for a ton of things. He's been working on quality stuff almost ever since this performance, I would say.
This propelled him, really?
He's good, I guess. Oscar nominee for Babe in 1995, which would have been the next year after this, if not this year. Won an Emmy in 2013 for his work on American Horror Story Asylum. Big roles, I mean, there's a lot here. Green Mile, LA Confidential, Babe, Big Hero 6. He's in the new Jurassic World coming out this year. Trying to think what I really liked him in the HBO show 6 Feet Under. I mean, he does a lot of work. He's in a lot of really kind of prestige good movies, a lot of TV. He's a big time star. So I like him. I like 6 Feet Under he's quite good on that. West Wing he's in. Yeah, you name it, he's been in it. But very accomplished, big time kind of actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and his line, "Not so fast, Francine," made me laugh. I don't know if you...
He could have been a reoccurring character, It'd be great to see him come back.
Him and Eddie, or is it Eddie? I don't even remember that guy's name anymore.
Eddie the mechanic. Yeah. I can see "Not so fast, Francine." That's a t-shirt.
Definitely. I mean, it's as good as, I don't think so, Tim.
Better, I'd say.
Speaking of which, I don't think I told you this, but in that board game... When you're doing the Al card, if I'm reading the Al card to you and you get it wrong, I have to say, "I don't think so, Tim," and then I get the reward of that card.
Oh, man.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I don't know. The game is built on the premise that you have to acquire equity, so I don't know. It kind of seems in line with that to me. But.
Fine. Anyways, back to this episode. They're into the house. The wife is very into it. She wants to make an offer.
She'd move in an hour.
Yeah, she wants to make an offer right away. Not so much for the husband here. He wants to do a little bit more research. He wants to know what's wrong with the place.
Yeah, he thinks that they're trying to pull the wool over his eyes. He feels like he's getting tricked. That's Fred for you.
That's Fred. Francine leaves with Wilson, and they see some more of the inside, and Fred gets a little bit of interaction with his possibly new neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he asks him the same question. Tim kind of has a chance here to lie and say that there is.
I thought he might.
I thought he might too.
I think the audience also kind of thought that as well, because when he asked, is there anything wrong with the house? People were like, oh.
Uh-oh.
But no.
Tim hesitates, but says no. He takes really good care of the place.
Too much character. He has too much character.
That's right. Fred also knows Tim from the show.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Sure.
We do learn that Tool Time is simulcast in Spanish once a week.
Yeah, I'm sure that people really enjoy that. Droves. People are just watching droves. Masses.
Yep. Channel 88, I think it was. He asked Tim... Well, we already talked about that. And then Tim starts to ask, really weird questions.
Well, it's just,
Fred.
Things that, Wilson... he's wanting to see if he's going to be like Wilson in any kind of way. So he's like, do you ever say Heidi-ho neighbor? Do you ever do a horny possum call?
That would make you leave right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. If I looked at a house and a neighbor asked me if I ever did a horny possum call, assuredly
Fred's
not buying
answers
that house.
instead are actually pretty good. He asks, do you own...
That's because James Cromwell's a professional,
That's right.
Jordan.
These are all ad-libbed as far as I'm concerned. He says...
There was no script for this episode. It was all improv.
That explains a lot more.
Yeah, that's why the door almost hit Mark.
Yep. Do you own an African circumcision mask? And he says, no, I rent mine.
That's kind of funny.
It is funny. So he's got jokes like that. And that's kind of the end of that scene.
Yeah, that's it. But we stay out to the fence, and this is where we get a little Wilson-Tim action. And Jordan, let's play a clip.
Oh, boy. Well, I can see where my next repair comes from.
That's all right. Just use my hose. Turn it on before you wheel it over the fence.
It's a funny thing, Tim, how we let things go when we're living in a place, then we decide to move and we fix it up for somebody else.
Somebody else? Boy, it's gonna be hard living next door to somebody else.
Tim, would you mind listening while I ruminate?
No, go ahead. Use the bush over by the gazebo.
No, I mean, can I use you as a sounding board?
Oh, yeah. Sound away. I need a little bit more. A little slack. Okay, good.
Tim, the last few days I've been thinking. Do you remember a long time ago when I told you and Jill that I'd once been married?
Yes, I do.
And that my wife had passed away before I moved in?
Yeah, but you didn't say much else, so we figured it was kind of hard for you to talk about.
Well, it still is, Tim. We would have been married this month for 25 years. You see, Tim, I met Catherine in Mendo Nembio. We fell in love, and we made a vow to return there on our silver wedding anniversary.
So that's why you want to move back there?
Yeah, in part. You see, Tim, I feel like my memories of Catherine are starting to fade, and it's just like I'm losing her all over again, and I can't let that happen.
Jeez. Sounds like she's real special, Wilson.
Oh, yes, indeedy. Catherine was one of a kind. She was the kindest, gentlest person that you ever met.
How did you meet her?
Well, it was one of those chance encounters in the forest. Catherine was a botany buff. I had a flair for flying mammalia. And one night in a clearing, our paths crossed while we were waiting for the night-blooming orchids to be pollinated by the nocturnal bats.
It's pretty romantic stuff.
Oh, yes. There were many breathtaking images in that forest under the moonlight, but they all pale next to Catherine.
Wilson, when you talk about her like this, it doesn't seem like she's right here?
Yeah, it does to me. Boy, I don't know. I guess it's been a long time since I spoke to anyone about her.
Wilson, I'm reminded of what one of the great thinkers of our time said.
Really, who was that?
Mario Andretti. Just as he retired from racing, he told a group of people that you don't need the ignition in the car to keep the thrill of the race alive. You just gotta keep in touch with your pit crew.
Well, that is very beautiful. But how does it apply to me?
Do I have to spell out everything for you?
You don't need to move to keep the memory alive. You just gotta share it with people that are here.
Like you?
You know, I might not understand every word, but I'm here, and I listen.
You know, Tim, I think I know what you're saying. I may take you up on that offer.
Really?
Really?
So you're not gonna move to Bobo, Brazil?
No, I think I'm gonna stay right here.
Right. That's real good news. That's real good news. If that other guy moved in, I'd have to fly down there to Jumbo Jambalaya every week.
Well, actually, Tim, there are no direct flights there. When I first met Catherine, you had to take a mule from Latacunga.
I'm sorry I never met Catherine.
Oh, you would have liked her, Tim. You would have liked her. We were like two Dalakedians and a Facilis.
What?
2 peas in a pod. Would you like to see a picture, Catherine?
I'd love to. What else don't I know about you, Wilson? Were you ever a spy?
Well, I could tell you, Tim, but then I'd have to kill you.
All right, so Wilson is continuing to work on his home here. He's trying to patch some part of his driveway with some cement. While doing so, there's going to be a conversation between Tim and Wilson, and Tim is going to help Wilson because he's not sure about how the consistency of the cement is. So Tim, actually, this is something he knows something about, comes over, tries to help, this gives them an opportunity to kind of switch roles. So Wilson has to go over to his neighbor's yard, and Tim is now in his yard. And
the ultimate subversion.
Yeah, we've been building up to this for 4 seasons. But it basically turns into how you would expect once they're in these places. Wilson starts to explain his problem and what's going on, and the problem is, he's losing his memories of his late wife, and he feels like the only way to recapture that is to go back where they fell in love and where they met.
Yeah,
and that's in the Ecuadorian forest.
It's a stretch, I would say. Bit of a rash decision, I would say.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit into what we see as Wilson usually.
As being pretty logical.
But, the heart has its way.
Yeah, well, it was a chance encounter down in Ecuador, and as you were saying, the script is kind of flipped here, and Tim is on Wilson's side, Wilson's on Tim, and he gives him advice from I don't know if he says philosopher, but from the great mind Mario Andretti. I didn't write down the advice, but
you don't need the ignition to keep in touch with the pit crew or something like that.
Something like that, and Tim kind of explains it to Wilson. He's like, "Do I have to spell everything out for you?" Ha ha ha. But basically, he can talk to Tim about his wife, and he can keep her memory alive by talking about her, as opposed to moving to Ecuador.
Yeah, you share the memories that you had with the people that are around you now.
And Wilson very abruptly decides that he's not going to move.
He's going to take.
That was all it took. It was solid advice, and Tim is happy about it and pleased. And
he does the Tiger Woods fist bump.
Yes, but actually it's a Tim Allen film because Tiger came after.
Okay.
But yeah. Final scene here. Jill is kind of just hanging out inside. Wilson's playing a conch shell, as it's some culture does
Hawaiian
it.
Thanksgiving tradition.
Hawaiian. Yeah, okay. So she comes outside and she talks about how happy she is that Wilson isn't moving. And we're kind of just setting up a gag with a photo here. I think he says, "Do you want to see a picture of my wife and I at our wedding?" And he pulls it out, and their faces are both kind of obscured by the cake. Anything I'm forgetting there?
No. Did you talk about the ELT sandwiches for tomorrow?
I didn't. No, go ahead and fill
Oh man, it's such a great payoff. You know those eel things they had to eat earlier? Well, there's some leftovers, and they're invited over for some ELT sandwiches tomorrow if they're free. Jill lies and says that she's allergic, though.
Are you for real?
No, why would I make that up?
Are you for real?
Oh, sorry. That's how good of a title that was.
You butchered that guy. Roll credits, fade to black. My dinner with Wilson. My podcast with Jordan. Highs and lows. Jordan, what do you think of this one?
I think it's okay.
Yes.
This is exactly the
good enough for me.
This is the same review I gave Ready Player One. It's okay. It's a different concept. Wilson, they do the switcheroo at the fence, which is interesting. We get a little bit more about Wilson's backstory and his marriage with Catherine, which I think is interesting. The rat subplot is not interesting and really doesn't have a payoff. There's really nothing for the kids to do in this whole episode. So, overall, I found that Wilson changing his mind pretty quickly was a bit hard to believe. But I like some of the things they do in this episode. I like Not So Fast Francine. It's okay. It's worth a watch, I guess I'll say. What do you think, Adam? What's your take?
I didn't really like it a lot. It's not I wouldn't say it was bad. It's not one of those episodes where I really hated it or anything. But I don't know. It just kind of was boring to me.
Yeah.
I would say primarily just kind of dull. I agree with you. The premise is something we haven't seen before. It's all so abrupt, we don't find out until 10 minutes into the episode that Wilson is planning on moving. And then 6 or 7 minutes later, he decides he's not moving. And it's just, everything is so fast. And I don't know, that turn at the end kind of feels unearned. Obviously, I knew he wasn't going to move, but it just all felt very, very abrupt to me.
Would you have liked it better if he moved all the way to Ecuador and then they show him in the forest hiding behind some trees or something, but he's just lonely?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised they do that, but I don't know, maybe it could have been a little bit more dramatic, or he has his bags packed at the end or something, and then he just decides last minute he's not. But I don't know, it was the turn was a little bit. Tim
runs through the airport and catches him as he's about to board the plane, and delivers sort of dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The rat thing, obviously, I didn't like at all. There aren't any good subplots at all, really, here. I feel lately Al and Al.
Al hasn't done anything forever.
It's strange, yeah, it's weird. So not much Al. The boys have nothing to do. Jill doesn't really have a lot to do either. I did like the James Cromwell, Fred and Francine kind of Fred's jokes were kind of funny, but ultimately, yeah, it was just kind of dull, rushed. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. Pretty middle of the road, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Not bad, not good. That's what we got for this one, I guess. So let's move on to Sean's social media roundup. If you want to reach out to us, you know how to do it. So you know where we're at on Twitter. You know where we're at on Facebook. Most importantly, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/HomeandPodcast. Adam, what's going on Twitter?
So Twitter, our handle is @HomeandPodcast.
You didn't like how I just assumed everyone knew?
Yeah, come on. On Twitter, a couple polls. First one, not a lot of total votes, but which Tool girl do you prefer, Lisa or Heidi? I guess it's kind of strange I hadn't asked this before, but overwhelmingly, based on 9 votes, I guess, 11% said Lisa, 89% said Heidi. So, I don't know, I was a little surprised it was so...
You thought it would be a little bit closer, 50-50?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Heidi, it's hard for... Right now, Heidi's kind of a nothing character. I know that later on she's going to become, she's going to have, her own kind of plot points and stuff. But as of right now, I don't know. It seemed kind of similar to me. I was surprised it was such a blowout. Next question's a bit more interesting. Who is giving the best performance on Home Improvement? Think pure acting, not which character you like the best. If your vote isn't here, then tweet at us. So basically, like, who is giving the best, base performance. So 18 total votes here. 6% Richard Karn as Al. Not a lot of love.
Well, because he's not in any episodes.
That's because people don't remember he's on the show. 17% Earl Hindman as Wilson. 28% Tim Allen as Tim. 49% Patricia Richardson as Jill. So almost half the votes went to Jill. Who would you have voted for here?
Boy. Probably... I don't know. Jill and Tim are both up there for me.
I was kind of surprised Wilson didn't do better. I know he's just a bit part, but I feel like that's pretty solid acting. But maybe the sample size is just too small.
I kind of frame everything with the idea that like Tim had never acted before the show, so I guess it puts him up higher than it would normally, in my head at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, got it. Other than that, I think somebody reached out and said that they wanted Jonathan Taylor Thomas to be an option. I say get real. Someone else at 910 Joko said I would have voted for Patricia Richardson. She happens to be my favorite, but hands down is a phenomenal underrated actress. So apparently got in a little bit late, but Patricia Richardson, she's a popular choice for this one. Like you said, iTunes reviews would be nice as well. We haven't had an iTunes review in a while, and as stupid as it seems, those are important.
Yeah,
to podcasts,
we have 21. Let's get to 25. That's such an easy goal to reach. All we need, you guys, is to.
I would say if you listen to the show and you like it, do us a solid. You don't need to give us any money. Of course, you can, and we'll happily take it. But yeah, it's easy to write a review. You don't even need to write anything. Just click 5 stars. Don't click 4 stars if you want to do that. Just don't bother. But yeah, a couple more iTunes reviews would be really appreciated. Thank you kindly.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah. Jordan, do you have a question for me?
I do. All right, Adam, after some long deliberation and me not thinking of anything, you generously came up with a question that I could ask. So the question I pose to you is, you're an accomplished man. You know how to do lots of things. But...
incredibly accomplished. Yeah.
Is there something that you don't know how to do that you've always wanted to, or you wish you could do?
Yeah, I mean, lots of things, but
what's the one thing that sticks out?
Yeah, the go-to I would say is I continue to be the last 3 or 4 years very interested in learning how to play the piano.
Oh, interesting.
I'd say every year, well, not every year, but for the last 2 years. Every Christmas and for my birthday, I always ask for someone to give me piano lessons, because then if someone bought it, I would kind of be forced to learn and go.
Mm-hmm.
But as it stands, that's just I'm not able to make the leap on my own. I seemingly am unable to do the research and commit to doing it. But if someone gifted it to me, then I would be forced to. So yeah, I'd like to be able to play the piano. That would be my big one.
Do you know anyone who used to be able to play the piano?
Yeah, you, Jordan. Yeah, because I used to request that you would play the Twilight Zone theme song.
Did you? I don't remember that. I can do Star Wars, but I can't do the Twilight Zone. Sorry.
I probably asked you to do the Twilight Zone theme song a handful of times. You can do Flintstones, can't you?
I can do Flintstones. I can do a few Christmas ones.
Yeah. See, I would just like to be able to do that. So.
Well, I might be able to teach you that.
If only we were a little closer. If only my visits lasted more than 15 hours.
15 hours.
What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, that's interesting. Not what I expected. You're just a bag full of surprises. You know that?
Mystery man.
Mystery man. The thing I would have said initially is no longer true, because we have a podcast. So.
You would like to know about that, or just to have one?
Just to start a podcast. But since we have now accomplished that, I think I would like to be fluent in a couple different languages.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah, I'm semi-fluent, if that's what you want to call it, in Spanish. I can have some conversations, but it'd be nice to be able to flip back and forth, especially in Florida. And
right now, I thought really you only speak all
And that I am very fluent. In fact, if you'd like to sign up for my classes, you can go to jordanlyons.com/
that / Is that HTTPS protected? All right, yeah, it would be good to learn. I thought about that as well. It'd be very helpful, especially for you down there. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I just like it. It's it challenges a different part of your brain, just like learning a musical instrument. So.
Yes. You might want to master English first before you.
Well, that's the thing. I struggle with English so much that I'd like to just move on to a different language.
You tried it. Wasn't for you.
Yeah, I'm into other things. So,
Jordan, I happen to know what we're covering next week. So
no,
instead
you
of asking
don't.
You, I'll tell you. I clicked next, and it's called Ye Old Shop Teacher.
Wow, I think we might visit someone's past.
Yeah,
it's a time travel episode. I love those episodes.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool. I wonder, will they ever do that? They would do like a fake flashback or something, maybe. But yeah, that would be fun. So thanks for listening, everybody. Jordan, thank you for joining me. And I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.